Hi, everybody, and welcome back. On today's episode, we will be discussing our favorite and some notable Black authors that everyone should check out. But before we start, we have a few announcements. We will be going on break and we'll start season 2 in August. In July, we will drop a bonus episode review of the second half of season 16 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I want to start our discussion by asking you this question, Tanitra. Next season, based on our lineup, which author and their books are you most excited to dive into?
I'm excited to get back into Kennedy Ryan's books. Like I loved the Housemaid series, but Kennedy Ryan, I hadn't read her before we started reviewing her books. Like you introduced her to me.
Mm-hmm.
I love her books and the way that she writes. Like I'm very excited to read more from her.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited. I know we're reviewing next season When You Are Mine and the close up, which is kind of a mini book of what's next after Real.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm ready to read that. I think I'm ready to read Rhythms Blues because I hear a lot about that book. It's by Kimberly Brown, and I see a lot of like quotes from the book a lot. So I'm ready to read that one.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yes. So I want to start off with three Black authors that you recommend.
Okay, so I found when doing the research for this, I had a lot more favorite authors when I was younger. And so I don't have favorite Black authors as much as I did now, but I do have favorite books that were written by Black authors. Like I have a lot of whenever I think of like my favorite books, it's like not just one person. But if I had to give my number one favorite author, it is Toni Morrison. Like I love Toni Morrison. Number one, like over everybody. She is the first person I think was besides Maya Angelou. But she is the first person I remember reading her books as a child. I read The Bluest Eye first, and then I read
Yes.
Beloved and Sula later on. But like I remember crying. Like that brought a
Yeah.
real emotion inside of me. Like, and she was Black, and then like you see her documentaries, and this was before she passed, and the way she speaks, I'm
Yes.
like, I love everything about this woman. So
I'm so
Toni
glad you brought
Morrison,
her up number one because she
yes,
was number one on mine. So I'm glad
what?
we're talking about
Great minds.
that. Right. I know. Okay. But what's your next two?
Okay. So next I had Ta-Nehisi Coates because I don't usually like books written by men for the most part, but because he speaks on male experiences, he gives me a lot of insight, and I'm able to communicate with my own brothers and my nephews and my male acquaintances and my man and everybody. But it's like it gives me more insight into just how a Black man psychology is going because they're not always the best at expressing themselves, but I enjoy the way that he writes. And then for my last one, only because he has a very special place in my heart, Carl Weber. And
Yeah.
he is the first person who got me reading grown up books. And I was like in fourth grade getting in trouble for reading his books. And I remember before he had TV shows and everything, I was reading
Mm-hmm.
like them grown folks books that I ain't have no business. So you call yourself a man and big girls and all this other stuff. Player haters. Like, I loved me some Carl Weber. So like as a kid, he was my favorite. But then just honorable mentions. I had a lot of favorite authors as like a teenager. Maybe I don't know if you remember. You remember Ashley and Jaquavis. You
Mm-hmm.
remember like Zane, Nene.
Yeah.
What was that? Nene Simone. She had like a whole series that I love. I forget who wrote it. I think it was Anne Schreff. But it was like a group of people who wrote that Bluford High series. Sharon Draper.
Yeah. That's honorable
Yeah,
mention right there is Blue for
absolutely.
High
It's like you just had
and
to. Like
Drama
it was,
High. No Divine
yes.
writing Drama
Oh my
High.
God. But like Sharon Draper, like all of them are just like honorable mentions for me. Like I gotta throw them in there because they definitely were my favorites at some point.
I'm really glad that you brought up Blue for High and like Drama High because I
So
think that
good.
was I ain't gonna say that's the start of my just loving books because when I was younger I was reading Junie B. Jones, but that's a
Same.
no
I love
another
me some Jennifer
right.
Jones.
That's a whole nother story for another day. But I'm glad that like, you brought up Blue for High and Drama High because I still have their books in my closet because I live back at
I'm about to
home.
buy the
So
whole series of Blue for High. I was just thinking about that the other day. Like I would reread that all of those again. Like as an adult now, like
mhm.
it's gonna obviously the writing is gonna seem a little bit more simplistic because we're older. But I wouldn't mind rereading all of those.
I wouldn't mind rereading Drama High because I didn't really kind of understand a whole lot about it earlier on because they talked about a lot of spirituality. Yeah, sorry, I
Yeah.
can't even speak right now. But they talked about a lot of that, and I didn't quite understand it when I was
We
younger.
should, and we can
But
speed past those because they're gonna be written real simple. We should read them.
yeah, and I want to re-dive into that. You know, she was doing like rituals and stuff and talking about a lot of like ancestral work in that book.
Yes,
And I know a whole lot about it like now as an adult, but I didn't really know a whole lot about it then when I
I
was reading
agree.
about it. And I think a lot of it's a lot of there's a negative connotation behind it, which I really don't like, but it's not really like that. It ain't no different from, you know, how people be saying like you need to eat black eyed peas at the beginning of the year
Yeah,
for prosperity. That ain't like, you know, it's nothing different from that. And I hate that it has like a
yeah.
negative connotation that people
You
be
know, Christians
witches or,
always throwing a. They do that with
yeah.
astrology. Anything that's like outside of the norm and that has anything to do with something that people are uncomfortable with, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's witchcraft." It's like, okay, you're too simple for me to talk to.
Oh, also say I did read that they were talking about a long time ago. They were talking about putting a Blue for High series into like television, but that
Oh,
was it was a minute ago when they talked about that.
oh,
But
somebody need to get on that.
I will say also with black authors and books, you know you the shit when your book gets turned into an adaptation. So
Oh
that's why I
yeah,
wanted to bring up with Carl Weber because
oh yeah.
the family
Because I had been
business and
reading
all
him for
that.
years before I finally like saw it. When I saw it on TV, I was like, "What?" Like not, and I think he had been doing stuff before then that I just didn't know about. But I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, he done made it up there. Like
Right.
he know how to write some drama."
Yeah, and you know all the Queen's Men on BET, you know that's based off a
Oh,
book
yup,
too.
yup.
But let's dive back into. I'm gonna list my other two authors, but I do want to touch on Toni Morrison a whole lot. But my two authors that I have put down that are notable black authors and that are kind of in this like rotation of books to read or authors to check out this in general. I have Tiffany D. Jackson. I don't know if you've read Monday's Not Coming or Allegedly before, but they're
No.
kind of like thriller. They're thriller
Oh,
contemporary books. She's really good for this,
black.
hmm and they kind of like, and also the stories that she write about, they're kind of based off like a kind of like court cases or things that didn't happen. Like she has this one book called Grown, and it just talks about this girl who's like in the music industry, and she kind of like gets kind of,
Oh,
I would say kind of like R. Kelly'd in a sense. Like it kind of like talks about like different. She touches on different scenarios in like, but she of course she's not directly writing about that. She's like taking a story and writing into her like own characters, her own story, type of
I'm
thing.
gonna
So
check
I
them
think
out.
that's a book. That's an author to check out. Tiffany D. Jackson. She has two more books coming out this probably between this year and next year.
Oh, we can add
Thrillers.
her to the list. I love me some thrillers, and then it's a black thriller too. Girl, get
Hmm.
into it.
It's not. They're not like scary like to
No, I'm. But
me,
it's
but
like,
it's like
but it keeps you going.
it's
Like,
suspenseful.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
And another author that I want to add to my list is Elizabeth Acevedo. So she's actually Afro Latino.
Okay,
She's,
that sounds familiar. Yeah.
yeah. And the reason why I actually picked these three authors, Toni Morrison, Tiffany D. Jackson, and Elizabeth, sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name. Sorry, I'm not really too well with Spanish too much. But the reason why I picked these three authors is because their books are all on the banned book list.
Wow. Yep. Toni Morrison, sure
The
are.
Bluest Eye is on the
Yep.
banned book list.
Which is
Tiffany,
stupid.
yeah, yeah, it's very dumb. And you know, Beloved is on the banned book list too.
Juvenile.
Yeah, I just think that's strange. I'm just like, I don't
I
know
think
why.
I know why the caged bird is.
Why?
Maya Angelou. I don't know, but I like when you mention him. I'm looking at thinking about the list in my head. I think it is. I think it is.
Yes, and yeah, Tiffany D. Jackson. Monday's Not Coming is on the banned book list. Like,
Now I want to read it. Thank you, stupids. I'm finna go buy it.
and that book is so good. I finished it in like 2 days, and it was a big book. It was a very big book. Well, about
And
four
I'm finna
hundred
buy
pages,
it.
you
Now
know,
look what y'all
something.
just did.
Yeah, yeah. So I just think that's and in the Poet X, that's up by Elizabeth Acevedo. I haven't
Buy
read
that
that
too.
book, but heard another book by her. It's called With the Fire on High, but that's not on the banned book list. But I just want to touch on those books that were on the banned book list because I don't really like. I think first of all that list is dumb in
It
the
is.
first place. I don't understand the point of it because it's like okay, like y'all banning it probably what in schools, but it is still like available to buy.
And then I'm just like, the things that y'all claim y'all protecting children from, which is like any type of mention of sexual anything or rape or anything, like I guess the family dynamics are, they don't even have a real reason. I think it's because but y'all don't realize y'all kids have access to the internet literally 24/7. They looking at way worse stuff if they wanted to read a good book and come across something that actually happens in real life. Like, I can't stand stuff like that. Screw Ron DeSantis. Screw Donald Trump.
I don't think he has like a connection to the banned book list, but
Does.
I just right. He's the blame for everything right now. Right. Oh, and also I wanna another book I wanna recommend. This is just a classic. Just I think every black person should read this book, Native Son by Richard Wright.
Oh,
Especially, I think all
yes.
black men need to read this because I talk about
100. Oh, yeah.
this. I talk about this. Black men, you need to stay away from white women. Like I'm telling you, like
AF.
that's
And we
just
seeing it so much more now. Gay and straight. We talking to both of y'all.
yeah.
Stay away from them white ones.
Yeah, so I think that's a book significantly like all black people
Absolutely agree.
should read.
He's in that same vein with Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Like, that's like in the same vein for me. That was a good ass book.
And I think honestly, you can get a good synopsis and a good just overall summary on Spark Notes of Native Son. So you don't even have to buy it, but just the book
Y'all
was
hear
read
that, boys?
along.
We know y'all
Some
don't like to read. Go look on Spark Notes and just gloss over the summary. It ain't gonna take you long.
I'm about to actually Google some. Well, I want to look up some more books by Black authors that are on the banned book list, and I also
Cause
want
I
to
sure
look
want to
up.
know. Give me a shopping list. Y'all want to be ridiculous.
Yeah, and I want to look up some notable just Black authors in general because I know we talk about the Zora Neale Hurstins, the Maya Angelou's, the Toni
They
Morrisons.
they
You
get they
know,
just do. Bell Hooks is amazing.
oh yeah.
Alice Walker is amazing. Of course, like
I
we
think
know those.
the color purple is on the banned book list.
Yep, it is. I remember them talking about that.
Let's see. Okay, and this is a more so recent list. This was made at the end of 2024. This is on Reader's Digest, and it says 30 books by Black authors that belong on your bookshelf. Okay, oh yeah, Octavia Butler. Everybody should check her out.
What was that book? They just made it into a TV show.
And yeah, because it was
You know what
on
I'm talking
my
about.
it was actually on my curriculum in school. I know exactly the book that you're talking about, but I can't think of the name right now, and I hate that.
It's crazy because it's literally on the tip of my tongue. I'm like, that's crazy. But you know the book, the way
But
that she
it's the
went
book
back in
when
time and all that.
went back in time, and it's like a back and forth
The
thing.
slaves and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, here's a book I hear about a lot: Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson.
Now I saw that TV show. I didn't read the book.
I read this book in college by this Black author. It was called An American Marriage, and it was on Oprah's book club book of the month. It was people say they didn't like the book, but I like the book. And it's by Tayari Jones. This couple got together and they got divorced. The husband ended up going to jail, and they ended up breaking up. So it was like a bunch of discourse in the book about. It was quite pretty much in simpler terms of the woman not holding the man down.
Okay.
But it was in much more like the book is more in a literary sense, like more professional. You know how to, it's like a difference between the books
Yeah.
like we be reading on a regular basis versus that book. That book was a little bit more, like a little bit more Oprah
College
like.
and all. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It ain't Mama, I'm in love with a gangster.
Yeah, yeah, bang bang, shoot up, everybody. Yeah, it wasn't nothing like that. Do you have any other books that you like recommend by some Black authors? Like, cause I know like you read a whole lot as well.
Not really. I mean, other than the ones that I already listed, no. But I'd always recommend Toni Morrison. I'd always recommend Bell Hooks. Like, it just depends on the mood you in. Sister Soldier is really good. I remember Renee Swindle was really
I have
good.
mixed feelings about Sister Soldier.
See, the latest books I wasn't that into, but The Coldest Winter Ever was one of the most well written, like, crime
Yes.
type of dramas that I had ever read. Like, up until that point, I was super young when I read it, obviously, but like, I think that one book has like kind of like Lauryn Hill with that one album is like that was good enough for me to still be a fan. I think that's what it is with Sister Soldier, because like the first one and then Midnight's book was good to me, but then like the later ones I wasn't really super into. But Coldest Winter Ever, I can't tell you
Yeah,
how many
yeah. I
times I
ain't
read
never
that
gonna
book.
take that away of Coldest Whenever. That's gonna go down in
I
history. But
dope,
that life
absolutely,
after
but
death, no, no.
I wasn't feeling it.
Uh, Yeah,
I
I'm
wasn't.
so disappointed in that. Okay, but let me read these bad books. Of course, we listed The Color Purple. It's banned. The Bluest Eye is banned.
That should be racist.
Native Son is banned. I don't know why.
Feels racist.
Okay. It says Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. That's on the banned book list.
Now this just feels like they attacking black works now. Okay,
But
I see y'all.
I did just look up black authors that are on the banned book list. I didn't put like I didn't grab the
But
whole
that's I don't
banned
see
book
why that would
list.
be on there. I'm trying to skim through. Like I remember exactly what that was in my mind. I guess because he was talking about like black stuff and
Cause
against
a
white
black
people.
man
Maybe they
killed a
don't like
white
it.
woman. A black man killed a white woman. That's why
But
they
these
put
were
it on
real
there.
stuff that was. They are crazy, child. But they put kindred on there, child. So they don't like it when we talk about like stuff with white people versus black people. They
No,
like no, no.
yeah, they don't like that.
That
Okay,
kind of has to be it, though. I'm noticing a theme.
it says Invisible
Like race
Man.
relations.
Yep, they don't like stuff.
Invisible Man. Yep.
Yep,
Race relations. That nah. I
yep.
see. That just
Invisible
confirmed it for
Man
me.
is on the. Oh my
That's
God,
crazy.
girl, guess what else is on the banned book list?
What?
Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston.
What? No, they read that, and we read that in like elementary and middle school, bro.
Right. Well, you know, MPS schools don't really care about. They we read
I'm
all
trying
the
to.
banned
There.
books.
It's literally just because of like they don't want nothing that promotes anything that's gonna talk about racial tension because you know they trying to erase anything that mentioned like slavery and segregation and all of that and like
Yep.
now this just
And
confirms it for me.
that makes sense that why the hate you give is on there.
No way. That okay. I see what y'all doing. That's stupid.
And they childish for this. Okay, it's a book called My Princess Boy by Cheryl Keela Davis. And they put
We
it on
don't
the
want none of
fan
that gay
in
stuff.
the cover of the
Get
book.
this.
In the cover got this boy frolicking they wrong for that. They have to, and it look like a kid, like it looks like a kid book. That's why I'm saying it like they
That's
wrong. Like that's
ridiculous.
petty. That's petty for putting
It
that.
reminds me of that Abbott Elementary episode, and they sitting there up in there talking about, I want to take this book off the shelves. It's some wizard kid book, but the parents want to come in and take it off the shelves.
I mean, I like the episode. Of course, the episode was funny, especially when he was talking about he wouldn't put 48 laws of power in the library. But I just think it's like people be looking at stuff too deep, talking about some
They
wizards or
do.
devilish or something like that. Like
That's
it's
so ignorant.
like don't do that. Like I don't like all that. If I was a teacher at school, I probably been cussed everybody out because it's like I like that parents be involved in school, but don't be taking your limited beliefs and trying to put it on
Put
everybody.
it on these kids, and especially when they're reading, and like kids are trying to read, and you stopping them from reading. Like, don't do that.
Right. And of course, they're gonna put him on the banned book list. They put autobiography of Malcolm X on
I
there.
was literally about to ask, is the autobiography of Malcolm X on there? Like, it has to be.
Yes, it's all the classic black novels. That's what I'm noticing. Like,
It is.
and these are all books that everyone should
It's
read.
like I remember seeing I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings on there.
Yeah, it is. I just passed
Yep.
it. Hood
I'm like,
Feminism
y'all
by
ridiculous.
all right. Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall is on there.
Y'all so jealous.
Yeah, that's the. Since they're on the banned book list, I just feel like everyone should read
Right?
them. So
Like, you just gave me a whole bunch of books. Like, let me go look into it. The ones I haven't read. Because don't play with me.
all right, I definitely need to go back and read Native Son because I remember reading that in high school and being very intrigued by
It
it.
was. It's a good book. I can't
yeah.
believe that. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's the trend. Like, dang, why is the Bluest Eye? What was the plot of Bluest Eye again? What was it?
So Piccola, the little girl, and she wants blue eyes real bad. But
Yes.
she's going through segregation and all of that, and then she's obsessed with. She has this idea of beauty that she is not, and she's like obsessed with looking at it in other people and the other kids, and eventually the stuff happens with her dad at the end, and I think she kind of loses her mind. But
Toni Morrison did touch on that a lot in her books, like just about colorism, I think, in
she
general.
did. That was a heavy theme in Bluest Eye.
Yeah, I'm about to look up some just reviews overall. I mean, I'm gonna look up just Toni Morrison, just books in general. Just
Beloved was an amazing book.
of course,
Like, I saw that
in a
before I
movie.
knew it was a movie to it.
Yep, it was a movie. So she has a long list of books, but I still have the Bluest Eye in my books.
Piccola Breed Love.
Since we're talking about that, I'm gonna just look up. Of course, it's 4.3 is the average rating on Goodreads. Yeah, they're all 5 stars, of course.
As they should.
Okay,
You
it
love
says
me some Toni Morrison.
It says Toni Morrison doesn't get the respect she deserves and has rightfully earned. I think that part of this has to do with the unfortunate connotations people have regarding Oprah's book club, and part of it stems from, if not outright racism and misogyny, then the racist and misogynist assumptions that Morrison is popular only because she is a non-white woman, liberal, guilt, etc. The latter is false. Toni Morrison has won the Nobel Prize because she is an excellent author. Okay.
Some
Yeah,
respect
because
on it.
people be saying she's overrated and more
She's very
like,
accomplished. Y'all better put some respect on Toni Morrison. I did like when I was thinking about this because I was like, who are my favorite black authors? But I was like, I could only think of the ones from when I was like younger, and I was like, I had authors that you go to Books a Million and you looking for that specific author, like books by them. But like Sharon Draper, I remember I loved her a lot in middle school. I don't know if you remember them books. Like I think The Skin I'm In was her.
that sounds
The Battle
familiar.
of Jericho, like Forged by Fire, Tears of a Tiger, where them boys got into that car accident, and it was like the one about that guilt. It was like a whole series, but like Sharon Draper was an amazing writer.
Okay, so right now I'm looking up some thrillers by black authors that everyone should check out. And this is on bookriot.com. Here's the first book I have. It says When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. I've seen this book.
That's a
It
good
says
title
My
too.
Sister, the Serial Killer. Oh my God.
Oh,
Author is someone I can't pronounce. The initials are OB, but I can't pronounce the whole name, so sorry about that. You guys are just gonna have to. That's a very distinct. It said it's the My Sister, the Serial Killer. That's a pretty
okay.
distinctive
I'll find
title,
it.
so it should be easy to find.
It sounds like something I want to read.
Another book that everyone should check out as far as thrillers is Bad Influence, and that's by a black author. I can't think of the black
Sounds
author name right
familiar.
now, but it's like a newer age kind of like thriller. I think everybody should check that out. I know everybody gets so want to read Freedom McFadden, but we talking about black authors right now.
Yeah. And you talking black thrillers like that, I'm down for it. Give me
Right.
something I can relate to at least. That concludes this episode of the Booked and Busy podcast. Be sure to tune in with us next time as we review the second half of The Real Housewives of Atlanta with our bonus episode.
Thank you for listening, and be sure to follow us on our socials and check out our reading list on Goodreads.